What's happening, guys? It's Shane here. So this was another highly requested video, and I posted a poll a little bit ago asking if you guys want me to dive deeper into specific degrees, and it looks like most of you do. So here we are. So it seems like there's a lot of demand out there for me to supply you with a video about economics. So as long as you keep supplying the like button smashes, I will meet that demand. And it does seem like I do have a monopoly on these videos, so if you don't want to miss out on this sort of thing in the future, I suggest that you hit the subscribe button as well. And also keep in mind, this is just my opinion, and if you're thinking about majoring in economics, then you should definitely do your own research before making a huge life decision like that. So economics is a very popular degree with thousands of people graduating with it every single year. Now, I think everybody knows what economics is. It's basically, in layman's terms, how money flows through a nation and how a nation supplies its economy with resources. So first, let's talk about salary. As you can imagine, economics is going to make a good amount here. Starting out, they're making around $56,000 a year, and then after about 10 years, they're making somewhere around $107,000. So this shows that they're making a pretty decent amount of money to begin with right off the bat, and then there's a lot of room for growth as well. According to the BLS, the average salary for a full-time worker is about $49,000 a year, so that's something that you can compare these numbers with. So if you're making more than average right away and you're making double average after 10 years or so, that's pretty good. Now, if you look at common jobs that you can get with an economics degree, there pretty much isn't any. So you might think that you're going to become an economist if you get an economics degree. And if you do want to become an economist, you can make a lot of money, but the problem is there's not that many jobs out there for them, and you would generally need to get at least a master's level degree. But with a 4-year degree, you can work as a financial analyst, management analyst, financial manager, which make anywhere between $83,000 to $127,000 a year. So to put these numbers in perspective, the median annual wage for business and financial occupations is around $69,800 a year, and the median for all jobs in the United States is around $39,800 a year. But because of how flexible the degree is, there's a ton of other options. Like one example would be you can work as a consultant for an agency. Or because of the fact that it's technically a social sciences degree, you'll have an easier time finding a job at a nonprofit or working for the government. Now, most of the higher paying jobs are going to be more math oriented, so it's a good idea to hedge your bets and either take extra classes or specialize in something that has to do with math. It's pretty flexible, so you can climb the corporate ladder if you want to and become a vice president or even the CEO of a company. Or you can get some experience in the business world and then start your own business later on, and you'll probably have a huge leg up on the competition. I remember one time I met a guy at a trade show who is an economics grad, and he actually ended up working for a hedge fund. This was a very high paying job, and he told me he took a bunch of extra classes in mathematics and even some computer programming stuff. But overall, this is a very flexible degree, and it's honestly pretty difficult to pin down exactly how much they make, but we can say that it's pretty good. Overall, we're going to give this one a 9. Next, we're going to talk about satisfaction. Satisfaction. So when it comes to satisfaction, I like to look at meaning as well as job satisfaction. Meaning is basically whether that job makes the world a better place, whereas job satisfaction is how much you actually enjoy doing the work. So if you got paid to stream on Twitch all day, for instance, you might have high job satisfaction, but a low meaning. Whereas if you were a garbage man, you might not have very high job satisfaction, but you definitely make the world a better place by getting rid of garbage and making sure our streets are clean. I'm making these examples up off the top of my head, but I think you get the point. For context, parking lot attendants score really low and occupational therapists score really high. Now, economics degrees score about 41%, which is lower than the average if you compare them against all degrees, but it's relatively average or maybe even slightly above average if you compare them to all the other business degrees. Now, business degrees tend to score relatively low when it comes to meaning, whereas if you look at medical degrees, they all score pretty high. According to PayScale, economists score 54% in meaning and 76% for job satisfaction. Now, these are both above average, especially if you compare them to other business professions. But the thing is that most economy majors don't actually go on to become economists, so let's go ahead and look at financial analysts instead. The scores go down to 39% for meaning and 68% for job satisfaction. For financial managers, it's better at 47% for meaning and 77% for satisfaction. Overall, because of the fact that this is such a flexible degree, it has pretty good job satisfaction and meaning compared to other business degrees. And if you do happen to go into a career path that you don't like, there's a lot of other options out there for you. So overall, I'm going to give this one an 8. Next on the list is going to be demand, and this is where an economics degree does fall flat a little bit in my opinion. When I was researching this, I heard over and over again on different forums that in order to get a good job right out of school, you have to go to a top 20 school. Now this is true in some majors and not others, but it seems like it might be the case in economics. It might also be a good idea to take extra classes in math, finance, and maybe even a little bit of computer programming probably wouldn't hurt. In fact, I think with economics, it would be a very good idea to either double major in something or minor in something that would also help you to achieve that career. Some really good examples of double majors or minors would be in economics and math, accounting and economics, business and economics, and finance and economics. Now, economics degree holders do have one of the highest unemployment rates at about 4.1%. Now, I think the reason for this is that the other side of the coin of it being such a flexible degree, which is a good thing, is the fact that it's also a very general degree, which isn't always such a good thing. Because most of the time, it's better to be a specialist than to be a generalist. This is why it's very important with this one that you do your research and you plan ahead. Now, looking back at the specialty jobs that we mentioned before, financial analysts have 329,000 total jobs and are growing at 6%. There are 867,000 jobs for management analysts and it's growing at 14%. And there are 653,000 jobs for financial managers and it's growing at 16%. These are all excellent numbers and it shows that there's going to be a ton of demand for these careers in the future. On top of that, there's a very low chance that these types of careers are going to be automated. And because of the fact that you have such a broad understanding of these subjects, it's highly unlikely that any of these careers are going to be outsourced either. Overall, I'm going to give this one a score of 7. Next on the list, we're going to talk about X factors. Now, one thing I always like to talk about when it comes to business degrees is how flexible they are. And I know economics is technically not a business degree, but they end up competing for a lot of the same jobs, so I just kind of group them together. Now, economics does come in as the number 3 degree that's created the most millionaires, and there is a reason for that. First of all, this is a great pathway to become a high-level executive, which is one way that you can become a millionaire. Or you can leave the corporate world, start your own business, which is another really common way to become a millionaire. An economics degree will also teach you some of the most important skills of personal finance, such as saving, budgeting, and investing. These are incredibly important skills, and if you get through an entire economics degree without learning these, I just don't know what you're doing with your life. This will also get you on the inside track to learning how to become a successful investor at a young age, and these are all invaluable skills that will likely lead to you being financially successful. And it does just seem like economics is one of those degrees that has that X factor where if you want to do things with it, it can definitely get you to those places as long as you plan it out. And like with many of the other business degrees, there's a ton of opportunity, a ton of upside, but there's also quite a bit of risk as well. It's important to focus on learning valuable skills, and the way that you can do that is to seek out internships or just work while you're going to school. And I always say this, but having that real life experience is invaluable. You really can't explain how much value that gives you, and it's going to give you a huge competitive advantage. And of course, it's important to focus on networking and meeting as many people as you can when it comes to a business degree. There's a lot of truth to the old saying that it's all about who you know. And it's not like this with all types of degrees. In health, for instance, it doesn't really matter all that much which school you graduate from. But with an economics degree, this really can matter what school you graduate from or who you know. That really can make the difference. So you want to pay attention to that. So overall, I would say it's probably a good idea to go to a top 20 school if you want to go into economics. But if you're already in school or, maybe you can't get into a top 20 school, you should still go for it if that's what you really want to do. Just focus on building your skills, networking, and probably try to take either extra classes or minor or even double major in something that's going to help you achieve your goals. Think about where you want to be 5 to 10 years in the future and then make a really solid plan on how you're going to get there. Overall, this one is going to get a very good X Factor score of 9. So now we're going to go over the pros and cons. So the pros are that it's really flexible. There's so many things you can do with it. It's not likely to be automated or outsourced. The pay is really good and it teaches you skills that can make you rich. Some of the cons are that it can be tough to get a job right out of school. It's somewhat general, so you do want to try to specialize as much as you can. May not be the most meaningful work in the world. And also the job satisfaction isn't amazing. Now, I do want to note here that if I do more research in the future and I find that some of the things that I said I don't agree with anymore, I want to be able to change this score. But from the research that I did in this video, the total score comes out to be 8.25 out of 10. This is a very good score overall, but at the end of the day, it does come down to the individual person, so make sure that you do your own research before making a huge life decision, like choosing the degree that you're gonna spend $40,000 on. Watch my videos right here. I made them just for you. Go ahead, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the little notification bell, and then comment down below any ideas, criticisms, thoughts, etc. that you have on this video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.